What do you think when you look at, these photos? Because this represents 40 years. Just think about how old you were when you started here and all that's happened in this time.
Yeah, and some of them, like that one, was not long after I got here. I know because I did a story on the Palace of Gold in West Virginia. And then this, of course, Doug Adair. He was so important to my career. He was a mentor for me. Mm-hmm. And I know you and I try to mentor people, and I always think, I hope I'm doing as good a job as Doug did. He supported me. He encouraged me. He would review my tapes with me. He's the reason I became an anchor. Mm-hmm. He encouraged them to make me the weekend anchor. I owed a lot to Doug. He
was critical in your moving to weekdays. Is that right?
He was, because they hired me in '84 as a weekend reporter, and then I would report 3 days a week. And after I had been here only about 6 months, Doug had more power than you and I hold as anchors.
Oh, you have power?
Doug, yeah, no, I don't.
I'm trying to find some power.
But Doug did. Uh-huh. Doug kind of called the shots.
Yeah.
And he went to the news director and told them he wanted me reporting Monday through Friday for the 11 o'clock show, which was, considered to be the show of record back then. And it was because of him that I got more of a prominent role as a lead reporter, and then I became the State House reporter and started doing a lot of the politics, but it was all because of Doug Adair.
What's changed here at the station when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to telling the big story, being part of the community?
You know what I think has changed the most is the technology, the way we do the story. But at the core,
it's the same.
It's the story. It's the story.
People.
It's people. It's connecting with people. And I always believe that everybody I meet is a potential story. So the core of what we do has not changed. The way we deliver it has changed incredibly. When I came here, we still had manual typewriters. I know some people don't know what that is, but we still had manual typewriters. I had never been at a station that had a live truck before.
Wow.
I came here, and it was like, oh, we can go live from somewhere. So the technology and the delivery systems and what we're competing with when it comes to streaming services, there are just so many things out there for the audience to choose from. But at the core, we are still storytellers.
How have you grown with the technology?
Let's just say, here's how I've grown with the technology. Here's my typical technology problem. Can somebody come here and fix this for me? I have not grown a lot with the technology.
I'll say the grit that you have, because it takes a lot. I always think, I remember the time we interviewed Mayor Ginther, and I thought, this poor guy is sitting there, because it was us and Darlene Hill, and we were just drilling him. Yeah. And I thought, geez, I would hate to be on the other side of this.
Were you told it appeared to be justified? And at that point, what was your first move of action?
You have this way about yourself. It comes with experience. You didn't, the Colleen Marshall of today is not this
certainly
person. Certainly
different,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
right.
How did you develop this into this person?
I think along the way you learn. I'm not asking these questions just because I want to know the answer. It's not about me. And this is what I've tried to say to young reporters who might come to me and say, I don't know, I have trouble confronting someone with a question I know they don't want to answer. You've been labeled a racist, you've been called a sexist. How do you respond to that? Nan Whaley is the first woman to run for governor on a major party ticket. Why have you refused to debate her? But each reporter here was told they'd get a single question. And if you questioned J.D. Vance, you could not question DeWine. Still, I tried to get an answer about another issue important to Ohioans. Polls show that the vast majority of Ohioans favor abortion exceptions for rape and incest. Are you defying the will of the people when you don't support those exceptions?
Colleen, well, I've made it very clear.
I have no problem doing that because I'm asking the questions that I think people deserve an answer to. Yeah. Especially when I'm dealing with lawmakers or government officials. I'm asking the questions that people have a right to know. And sometimes it is uncomfortable for each of us because I know they don't want to answer that question. That doesn't stop me from asking it. Your unwillingness to confront someone cannot be stronger than the need to know. You have to get answers from people who are in positions of power, and often in positions of power because voters put them there.
Yeah.
They have the public trust and they have public power. So they have a right, an obligation to answer questions.
So you had a pretty successful career run here at Channel 4. Then you decided to go to law school. The heck was that about?
Well, I always wanted to go to grad school, but I put myself through college and I had many, many years of paying off school loans. When my son turned 13 and my daughter was 12, my husband said to me, we were exactly 5 years older than him when we met. And I started thinking, I'm about to have 2 kids in college in a few years. If I ever really want to be serious about continuing my education, I have to do it now. I heard about Capitol having a part-time law program, you could go part-time day, which is unusual. And so I went to school. It took me 4 years and got my law degree. And I'll be honest with you, I never thought I would be on the air at this age. And I saw what this business did to women back then. It was very unforgiving as you aged. And so I thought, you know, I want to be able to write my own ticket. I want to have the power to go on to another career that I want to control, that I want to be in charge of. And so then as it ended up, I ended up doing 2 careers for about 20 years. But a lot of it was me wanting to be able to control my own destiny, but also because I loved law. And I thought it would, while I'm here, it would be helpful in this career. And as it turns out, it's been very, you know, they complement each other, being an attorney, being an anchor, very complementary. So that's the long and short of it.
Something tells me you also wanted to intimidate the bosses in case they, you know, wanted to come to you and say, you know, Colleen, it's about that time.
Yeah.
You're like,
okay.
This is Esquire. Do you know who you're talking to? But you've recruited, in a sense, other journalists to go to law school, to enter the field.
Yeah.
You even tried to recruit me.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I said you'd be good at it. You know, because, and it's not just that you'd be good at it, but I think people have to have a certain drive. And there have been young journalists in here who've had drive and had different ideas of what they want to do. One of our reporters who went to Cleveland ended up calling me and saying, I'm going to law school. So I wrote her a letter of recommendation. And there have been some people who work on our digital desk who've gone on to law school. I mean, it's not like I'm out there being a law school recruiter.
You are.
But I do want to encourage any of them, any of the young people in this room to follow their heart and to see where, you know, where that might take them. I mean, I still come into this room every day because I love this job. You know, I could be out there practicing law full time, but I keep thinking there's another story out there that I just haven't quite gotten yet. That there's another one on the horizon that I need another interview or another story or.
Who's the interview that got away?
I've been pretty good at getting the interviews that I really wanted to get. I'd love to get Kamala Harris. I'd like to get Donald Trump again. Kamala Harris, I think at this point, at this turning point in history, would be a good get because she's not doing many interviews and she's not going to talk to somebody in Columbus, Ohio. But that would be one. I've done a lot of presidential interviews. I've interviewed Joe Biden. I've interviewed Barack Obama. I did the first George Bush. I did Barbara Bush and, you know, Hillary Clinton. I've had some good political interviews. But you know what? The stories that really stick with you are just the average person on the street whose life you impact, or the sexual assault victims at Ohio State, the Strauss victims.
For those that knew, they knew Colleen.
What about us?
Those are the stories you take home with you. You know, you're touching someone's life, and maybe when they're going through something they don't want to go through, and they're willing to share their story with you. It's a privilege.
All right, so go back to 1984 and think about a young Colleen arriving here to Channel 4. What piece of advice would you give that Colleen Marshall about the next 40 years?
I think I would say, stick with it. You're better than you think you are. Because when I got here, I was so nervous. Even though I'd been a reporter for years, I'd been in radio for a very long time. I was 28 when I got here, and I thought, wow, this market is so big, and these reporters are so experienced, and they are so good at what they do. And not just at this station, this is a very competitive television market. And when I got here, I thought, wow, I hope I can do some good here. I hope I can make it here. And I think I would say, just hang on, you'll be all right. That's what I say to people now. Hang on, take a deep breath, you're gonna be all right.
I got here in 2020, so I think Denise arrived in 2019.
Yes.
First female news director.
First, can you believe that?
It's crazy.
Can you believe that? Almost 40 years in the business before I had a female news director.
And what does that mean to you?
It was pretty special. It was, because I just, like I said, women at the beginning, even when I first got here, they were giving me stories like, oh, go cover daycare and go cover, very soft, feature-y stories. And I think I've told you this once. The news director at the time, I went to him and I said, look, you saw my tape. I came from a market where I was doing hard news stories, labor stories. I covered the Fraternal Association of Steel Haulers, and I did a lot of Weird and Steel stories. And I said, I do hard news. I do crime. Why are you giving me these stories? And his answer was, we like the girls to do the softer stories. And I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. I don't want to do the softer stories. And I said to him, you've got to give me a chance to prove to you that I can do hard news. And gradually he did, a little at a time. But that was hard to hear. We like the girls to do the softer stories. Yeah. Not that I want to go out there and, be a serial killer, yeah. but I want to cover the serial killers.
But can you believe he had the audacity to say that?
And can you imagine today? I mean, put that in today's context.
Yeah.
If someone said to me, we like the girls to do the softer stories. What? Yeah, his ears would be ringing still.
Yeah.
But back then I was like, oh no, he's serious.
What's the thing about you that is most surprising? People don't know, they would be surprised to learn?
Well, I will tell you, when I'm in social situations with people who, I might be with friends and then with some new people, they always say to me, I can't believe how funny you are.
Yeah.
People don't expect us to be funny. Well, we're not funny. We're doing a lot of serious stuff. Mm-hmm. But I have a statue that shows I was the class wit of Connellsville Area High School, 1974. Oh, okay. I think that's one thing that surprises people, and that I think I'm pretty approachable. I don't think I have secrets, to be honest. I mean, you've known me. Do you think anything's a secret?
That I'm aware of.
Yeah.
You've had opportunities to leave?
Yes, I did. And when we came here, Gary and I, he was a photographer at the station. I actually followed him here. He used to be in the business too. But we had plans to be here for 2 to 3 years. We were going to be in Columbus, and then he was going to follow me to the next job. We were going to go south or west. And I had been told that I couldn't have children. And I came here and found a doctor who said, yeah, you can, we'll fix this. And I was interviewing with a station in Dallas to be a reporter, and I got pregnant. And I thought, oh, well, I'm not moving while I'm pregnant. And then we had our son, and he was 9 months old when I got pregnant with Shannon. And we started thinking, this is such a great city to raise a family. I want my kids to have a stable neighborhood. We love our neighborhood. We love our neighbors. And there was something about this city and raising a family here. And then the station gave me so many opportunities. They made me the weekend anchor. And when Mona left, she was replaced by Angela. And then when Angela left, they offered me the position, and I was thinking, wait, I'm walking in the footsteps of Mona Scott and Angela Pace. I don't know if I can do that.
And then Angela went so far away from Columbus that, people forgot about her. So that made it easy for you, I'm sure.
She was a 10, and she was a powerhouse. And I thought, oh, now I'm going to be competing against her. So the station gave me opportunities. They gave me support. I love the people I work with. This is a great group. I mean, we've never had a time when I did not want to walk into this building and see the people I work with. I love the people in this building. And so the station made it impossible for me to leave, is the way I look at it.
All right. And where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Do you think I'll still be alive 10 years from now?
Something tells me you'll be here and I won't. I'm going,
No.
Colleen hasn't retired yet. I've been
Yeah.
doing it. Next year will be 20 years for me, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
I'm exhausted by this
You know, it
career.
is an exhausting, it really is. I don't know if people realize, because they think, well, you just sit there and read. No, there's a lot of tense moments. There's a lot of stress to this job. There are time demands, and let's be honest, we're never really not working.
Yeah.
I get calls all the time. I'm making calls all the time. I don't know when I'm going to retire. I won't be here 10 years from now, let's be honest. I'm not going to be here 5 years from now, probably. But there's still a story on the horizon that I'm looking for. And as long as I still want to look for it, you're not getting rid of me.
We're celebrating your 40th anniversary, but there are other people in the building who've been here longer than you.
Yeah, Benny Ray Gelber, Ronnie Clark's been here longer than me. Oh yeah, Boomer has been here longer than me, Marco. There are people who were in this building when I got here. Jimmy Crumb, we used to say he was sitting in the parking lot and somebody built a television station around him. Because he was here so long. But when you think about it, the station's 75 years old. I've been here longer than half the life of the station.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
When the time comes, do you think you will be able to look back and say, I'm leaving this station in good hands?
I do, and I will tell you why. Like I said, we have such a strong reporting staff. And you care about what it looks like on the air. We have strong anchor team. We have a lot of people who can move into my seat. Maybe they're out there with a gun right now. No, but I do think I'll leave it in good hands. And we have a strong management team that is supportive. And in this business, that's not always the case. We have a company that's invested money in this station. I mean, look, somebody put this graphic together. That was a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hair.
Very good. What else?
I will tell you, this is a job that is a challenge for your children. I really thanked Doug Adair because my kids were little when I took the full-time anchor job. And I didn't want to do it because I said, who's going to be there at night to tuck my kids in? And who's going to be there when they get off the bus? Who's going to be... but my husband said to me, we can make this work. And he made his schedule overnight so that he was home by noon and I didn't go to work till 2:30. So like in the summertime, it was great. I was home with the kids and went swimming and everything. And then Doug Adair he went to them and said, look, I don't take a dinner hour. I stay in the station. I'm giving her my dinner hour. And so I would go home 2 hours every night. I came in early. I mean, I was still working because they were in school. So when they were in school, I would come in early and then I would take a longer dinner hour, rush home, get them ready for bed, help with homework, and then come back to work. So this can be a challenge when you have children, particularly young children. And my kids never knew anything different. But I think they turned out pretty good. So.
Yeah.
I did okay.
Yeah, you're proud of them.
I'm very proud of them.
Then here's the thing that people don't know about you. You cry at everything.
I cry. I'm ready to cry right now.
And here's what's terrible is I laugh at you when you start this
I
because
do.
there have been commercials, holiday commercials, where the family's getting together and something
makes me
emotional,
cry.
and you're sitting there.
Or you know what? Or there'll be and I've told you this, I always, in these tragic stories we do, I identify with the mom. And when I see, you're going to make me cry. When I see somebody crying over the worst day in their life, I put myself in their shoes. Look what you did to me. I do cry easily, and I can't help it. I can't help it.
But during the commercial, it's a grocery store commercial, and I'm sitting here going, what in the world is going on over here?
I know, I cry really easily, and I try to hide it from people because it's probably unprofessional. But I do cry when somebody in a story is crying. And I know, I'm thinking, please don't let him look over here at me and see that I'm like trying to not cry. The Johnny Gaudreau story has just done me in.
Yeah. Why does it get to you when you hear people say, I grew up watching you. Such and such. Because when I started, you even said you get to say it 2 more times, and that's it.
I'll tell you why when it got to be odd. When people who looked really old would come up to me and say, I grew up watching you. One time Shannon was with me at a fundraiser, and the guy from Rascal Flatts was there. It was at Ohio Stadium. It was a fundraiser for Make-A-Wish, and before it started, we were at this VIP reception, and the guy came up to me and said, hey, I grew up watching you. And I thought, oh, well, thank you. And he walked away, and I said to my daughter, he didn't grow up watching me. He's 35 years old. And she said, Mom, you've been here 25 years. He was 10 when you got here. He was still growing up. And it was like, oh, yeah, people did grow up. So, yeah, so I guess it's okay if you grew up. But really, you don't have to say it ever again.
Okay, never again. But I did grow up watching you right here on Channel
Thanks.
4. Congratulations
Thank
on 40
you, my
years.
dear. Thank
Awesome,
you.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.